Our world is a large and complex place, which makes it almost understandable why sometimes people seem to get lost. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 ongoing discoveries and unsolved cases. What happened to the missing Iraq cash? 2004 saw $12 billion go missing on their way to Iraq in the midst of a war. Whilst these huge funds were earmarked for the reconstruction and rebuilding of the country post-war, this cash failed to have the beneficial impact that had been hoped. This enormous transfer of cash, weighing 363 tons in total, was delivered from New York, USA to Baghdad, Iraq. The plan was for this money to support the redevelopment of Iraq after the turbulent war years, by dividing these funds amongst Iraqi ministries and US contractors. This support plan was implemented in installments, with these cash deliveries being made once, sometimes even twice each month. The largest payment, $2,401,600,000, left the US aboard a C-130 plane on June 22, 2004. This money was passed along as shrink-wrapped $100 bills, resulting in a whopping 281 million notes being handed over in one sum. With numbers of such a high scale, it should come as no surprise to discover that this is the largest cash transfer to have been completed in the entirety of the Federal Reserve's history, only to be spread and shared with no control over who got their hands on this money, nor how it was being used. In preparation for the House Committee meeting, a government group established in order to oversee the reform and to assess the success of the reconstruction of Iraq, a memorandum, or in layman's terms, an official record, was gathered, providing the details of the June 22nd shipment. One official, House Committee Chairman Henry Waxman, commented, "The numbers are so large that it doesn't seem possible that they're true. Who in their right mind would send 363 tons of cash into a war zone?" Despite presenting an entirely convincing argument in the above statement, the strongly against war and military action attitude of Waxman results in criticism from many, that his personal beliefs tainted his perceptions. Within this description and explanation of the shipment, a haphazard and frankly careless attitude was revealed to have been taken towards this life-changing amount of cash. According to the memorandum, the US-led Coalition Provisional Authority pulled this money from Iraqi oil sales, funds for the United Nations Oil for Food scheme, and seized Iraqi assets. A defining characteristic embodying the careless attitude was the key to the vault being held within a backpack that was entirely unsecured. So, what actually happened with this money? $774,300 were found to have been stolen from one area's vault, made easy by the seemingly limited security that had been implemented. Piece by piece, and between divisions, the lackluster attempt to protect this money proved to fail. It is estimated by the Specialist Inspector General for Iraq Reconstruction, Stuart Bowen, that $8.8 billion intended for use within Iraqi ministries had not been used there, with Bowen stating they were without assurance the monies were properly used or accounted for. Deepening this concern is the belief among many officials, such as Bowen, that the amount that has been determined to have been lost, poorly distributed, or simply missing is not extensive. Many suggest now that the true value may be closer to $20 billion. Another point of blame is the failure to comply with certain terms expressed within the contract. The CPA had agreed to hire an independent certified public accounting firm to oversee the expenditure, and to generally have another institution with their eyes on this grand quantity of money. This did not happen. Instead of a larger, established firm, the CPA employed an unheard-of consulting firm. North Star Consultants Incorporated was such a small business that, according to Bowen, it operates out of a private home in San Diego. Needless to say, this did not comply with the terms within the contract that secured this money being transferred. On the contrary, the House Committee highlighted that since the money had not been from the pocket of US taxpayers, then they had less of a motive and were less concerned about this scenario than one may have anticipated. This drastic misplacement of billions of dollars resulted in millions of Iraqi families with no access to salaries or pensions for months upon months. Whilst we cannot know what happened to this money for certain, the suggestions made and the opinions we form may be our only conclusion. Richard III's DNA raises questions over Queen's ancestry. Following the discovery of his remains more than 500 years after his death, scientists discovered that King Richard III's DNA shows evidence of illegitimacy in the British royal family ancestry. Since the news first broke out in 2012, the same staggering question continues to boggle the minds of many up to this day. Is Queen Elizabeth II the rightful heir to the throne? King Richard III lived in the 15th century. His reign was rather short as it only lasted for 2 years due to his sudden death in the hands of his enemies at the Battle of Bosworth. The iconic ruler is known to be the last king of England to die in a battle that marked the end of the Plantagenet era and paved the way for the Tudor period. His reputation speaks both of his good and bad sides. Some say that he was a great ruler who wanted to make life fairer and more bearable for ordinary people. On the flip side, others say that he was so despicable that he murdered his nephews to protect his throne. Regardless of which account is accurate, scientists who studied his life believe one thing to be true: that the human remains unearthed under a car park in downtown Leicester back in 2012 is indeed King Richard III. This confirmation is the foundation of a huge controversy surrounding the reigning royal family's claim to the throne. A team of DNA experts and genealogists from Leicester University studied the remains of Richard III. Since he did not have a successor, they compared DNA samples with his sister Anne of York's living descendants. While King Richard III's DNA matched with his female ancestors, it was not a match with the males. There appears to be a break in the family tree. This means that somewhere along the lineage, a royal wife cuckolded a king and gave birth to another man's child. As to whom exactly was the illegitimate royalty, scientists could not say for sure at this time. This did not come as a surprise to a lot of genealogists though, as they are well aware of the constant 1% to 2% chance of false paternity. There is also the possibility that there is more than one break in the lineage, or that more than one royal wife kept a secret. Queen Elizabeth II is a descendant of King Henry VII, who is one of the 5 Tudor monarchs. If the break in the lineage occurred between John of Gaunt and his father Edward III, who both lived in the early 14th century, then the Tudors' claim to the throne might be illegitimate. According to Professor Kevin Schurer of Leicester University, given the passage of time since this probably medieval royal scandal happened, the reigning queen is safe and her claim to the throne should not be questioned. Almost a decade after this discovery, the queen remains unshaken. By far no controversy or theory has succeeded in dethroning the royal family, and the living descendants of the House of Tudor continue to reign. Who is Harry's father? Princess Diana admitted that she had an affair with Major James Hewitt that lasted from 1986 to 1991. This affair occurred at the same time as Prince Charles was cheating on Diana with Camilla Parker Bowles, his current wife. Diana and James met at a courtier's cocktail party. She asked him to give her horseback riding lessons, and their relationship quickly progressed from there. Apparently, it was Diana who initiated the affair one day, telling him that he gave her strength and she hated not being with him. James often snuck into Kensington Palace since Diana and Charles had separate bedrooms. He soon became a regular guest whenever Charles left on trips. Even Diana's sons, William and Harry, grew very fond of James because he was there so often. Ken Worf, Diana's former protection officer, wrote a book called Diana, Closely Guarded Secret. In the book, Ken called James a womanizer who gave Diana the attention and affection she so badly desired. He said that Diana would sometimes meet James at a cottage that belonged to James's mother, and Ken could hear them together. James says that the two would simply have dinner and relax together, just enjoying each other's presence. Their relationship slowed down in 1989 when James was sent to Germany, even though Diana attempted to pull strings so he would not have to go. They rekindled their romance in 1990 before he was deployed to serve in the Gulf War. Diana could tell James was serious about their relationship from the way he spoke in his letters. She began to pull away from him, and they finally split up for good in 1991. It has been said that James Hewitt might be Prince Harry's father ever since their affair became public, though James has denied this accusation. He believed that people were only spreading rumours because it would sell papers. Ken has also said in his book that this accusation is nonsense because the timeline does not add up. Diana and James did not meet until 2 years after Harry was born. People often like to point out that Harry has red hair like James, but Ken is quick to remind people in his book that Harry's red hair comes from Diana's side of the family. But what do you make of these 3 stories? Are they myths, or could this be what really happened? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.